Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast.
We welcome back to the show our inaugural guest, a man that really needs no introduction. Well known in industry, not only for his contributions to insurance and loss of license cover specific to pilots, but also for all the additional work that goes around general aviation, air racing, aerobatics, making sure such an important part of industry continues to run. Welcome back to the show, David Roux. David, it's great to have you back. We had you last on here quite a while ago.
Quite a while back.
Then the first guest, the inaugural guest. And in that discussion, we did say we'd love to have you back on, considering, one of our very first posts got like 80,000 views because all you said was,
pilots are flipping cool,
pilots, you're the pilots are flipping cool guy. We got insane traction on that on TikTok. It went viral like immediately.
Yeah.
A lot of people leaving opinions from all over the world about why they agree or disagree, but I think we can agree pilots are pretty damn cool.
They are pretty damn cool.
So as I alluded to in the beginning, David, the last show really focused on loss of license cover and the importance of having that cover, me being a client of you personally, and I sleep way better at night knowing that protection exists. But before we actually started going live, now you mentioned that, I find it quite interesting. A lot of people that fly know of the problem, but they don't know that any kind of cover exists. Why do you think that is?
That's our bad. That's my bad. It's my bad for not getting out there enough and educating the pilot community enough. That's might be a legacy problem as well. I don't want to blame our forefathers, but it's only been around for a little while. In terms of what disability and life insurance is, the loss of license component added to it has only been around for a fraction of the time. And that might just be the difference between a insurance type concept sinking into the general public and into the pilot community. The fact that a loss of license product exists hasn't actually disseminated into the full pilot community yet.
When you say full pilot community, you're talking about youngsters coming into industry or people that are relatively new to industry having career change, or the more established groups?
All of the above, hey? So I speak to captains at various big airlines, and they know of they've heard of it. They don't fully understand it, and because they've been dealing with a company that doesn't actually offer it as part of their disability offering or as part of their disability product, then they think they can't get it, or it's something that's some mystical thing that some little broker at the somewhere in a magic place can do for you. So there's that level of misunderstanding of the loss of license product, all the way down to the kid who's asking his parent or her parent about becoming a pilot. And they say, well, it's too dangerous. It's too risky. What if you lose your medical? And that pilot doesn't know that there's insurance. So they would immediately be able to neutralize that argument and not have to go through having to go get a degree first, because how many parents say that to their kids? You can become a pilot, but you need to be able to fall back on something and have a good career like engineering or financial advisor or something like that.
Yeah, I prepped a guy the other day for an interview who's literally an actuarial scientist. He had that as a fallback so he could go fly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unreal.
And so, all that time, not wasted, but spent doing something else which you could have been doing, becoming a better pilot and actually just getting your license 4 years earlier or 6 years earlier. An actuarial scientist only becomes that after at least 7 or 8 years. So, all that time not flying, you know what I mean?
It's a loss of income at the end of your career as well. Correct. It's like 6-7 years of not having that real top tier command level 12 salary that you could have had. And that's millions.
Millions. And then I've got stats on this as well, but that kind of income and those contributions to your retirement fund doubles that nest egg every 5 years from age 55 to 60 to 65. And if you've missed out on 8 years, I mean, the financial implications are huge. And it's a huge overcorrection to put in place a big degree or big fallback career like that, that loss of license can actually just take care of.
And you actually never end up using it again.
Exactly. And loss of license can literally take care of that. We can protect, I don't want to go into the numbers, but we actually put in money in the insurance amount to be able to reinvent yourself. So you'll see when we do your financial needs analysis, we say, okay, well, there's the disability lump sums you'd need to pay for redesigning your house and putting a wheelchair conversion on your car or special treatments that the medical aid doesn't pay for. Those are all big lump sums you need to provision for. The other big provision number that we put in for pilots is a reinvention number. So we put $2 million there to say, okay, well, you've spent the last 10 years of your life living your dream outcome, all the ratings, all the blood, all the sweat and tears you've spent getting to your stage in your career, which for a lot of guys means flying in Iraq, getting shot at and all those kinds of things. Not just guys, let me just reiterate, girls as well, definitely, and not just girls, women, definitely. There's a lot of blood and sweat and tears that goes into that, just getting to that point of a career. And now you're just the first officer at a local airline, and then you lose your medical. So we put a provisional amount to say, well, let's recoup some of those costs. Let's give you an amount that you can buy a business, you can study something else real quick, or you can reinvent yourself in some way. And that way, if we're looking at the levels of restarting, you're not starting at the ground level again. You're starting at level 3, 4, 5, or 6, so that you can get in there and recoup and realign yourself with becoming a
whatever it may be, a movie star.
Movie star, exactly.
So people just out there in this industry without any kind of cover.
Yeah. Can I say it?
Go for it.
And you coined it beautifully. It's like having unprotected sex with your career, not having loss of license.
Yeah, 100% couldn't agree more. I mean, the risk is massive, not only to you, but to your family. It's like that and having unprotected sex with your career, but not telling your wife. And then the chickens come home to roost, literally. It's incredible. I'm just surprised that nobody knows about it. It's something I always wanted when I was growing up in industry. And the product just didn't really exist. They had disability cover, etc. But we discussed that last time about the devil's in the details there.
For real.
But David, you also known for your deep love, and it's a genuine love and passion you have for industry. I mean, there's no one can deny it. You've actually just come from a big meeting now, as you're working towards putting together the President's Trophy Air Race.
Correct.
So before we dive into that, we won't hint at who the sponsor is, but it's going to come evident very soon. But what motivated you to want to give back so much to industry and to do the things that you do? You always doing posts, you're always at events, you're always active and visible all over industry. Why the drive?
So the first couple of events, I must admit, were purely transactional. And I didn't know what I had in terms of the audience and the people and the community. Back then it was Robin Spencer Scar and a couple of guys like Robbie Myberg, and there's a good bunch of names that carried the President's Trophy Air Race and general aviation flying for South Africa. And being thrust into that via the company and the existing relationships that we had, like I have to be honest that I didn't understand the level of gift that I was being given. in terms of like, Dave, go to the President's Trophy Air Race. We've paid them 10,000 Rand and we're sponsoring the caps. Just go make it happen. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go and meet and drink
Don't need
with.
to tell me twice.
I was like, 100%. I'm going to go and meet with introduce myself to as many of those people as possible. Back then, it was a lot of Captain and Coke, Zero. And, that was the vibe. That was like just get there and just have a party and really get to know the people and then follow up with phone calls afterwards to say, listen, we met at this event and I'm going to insure your airplane now because I've seen what it can do. This is an amazing thing that you've got here. And, that was the game. Sales, hit the numbers. And that worked really well. It worked really well. And we became known as the hat or cap sponsors for the President's Trophy Air Race from 2008 onwards. Okay. And then I've got a very funny story of how I met France, who's my current business partner in the business Pilot Insure, who founded Pilot Insure. And should I tell that story now?
Go for it.
So we were the cap guys. And like
You in France were the cap guys?
No.
You were the cap guys.
I was the cap.
You
guy.
were the cap.
Airborne and me were the
Yes.
cap. My team, we were the cap guys. And for a good 4 or 5 President's Trophies, like we dominated the space, right? And I'm going to come back to
The cap space.
The cap space.
Got it.
And I'm going to come back to like the role of sponsor versus organizer, or helper versus organizer versus impassioned bringer together of everything. And so coming back to that, but we get to Garib one year and we see a Pilot Insure gazebo and a Pilot Insure banner, and we've got the official President's Trophy hats in a box in my boot. We've just arrived, and there's already guys walking around with Pilot Insure hats on, and it was like, I don't know if you
How dare you?
yes, like,
We are the cap guys.
it was like, if you can imagine, like
Jeez, like someone touching your wife.
like the Bloods and the Crips, like it was rough.
Moving in on your turf.
Yeah, exactly. And so my nose was well out of joint. I was like annoyed by this, and I'd seen rumblings of him on a website, and this Frans Smith dude and Pilot Insure, and we weren't too sure exactly what it was even about. Like we thought we were competition.
Yeah.
In business. Turns out
Not at all.
Not at all. Pilots and aircraft, while they go together, are totally separate in insurance terms. And anyway, so we kind of like establish ourselves as the cap dudes now, like kind of taking off his hat and putting it individually on people's hats, on heads throughout the thing, and like really like just saying, listen, Oaks, we the cap guys, like we the sponsors, yeah, like don't F with us.
Don't roll in our turf here, bro. We'll sort you out.
France was like, no, that's not what we're doing here. We're not competitors. It's not this, it's not that. Like, just chill. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like trying to take it easy. Anyway,
That's still very irritated.
like a fire was lit. And anyway, the weekend goes on, and we get into some high spirits and highly poured spirits, and lots of good things, and it's a great event, an absolutely fantastic event. And on one of the evenings, I think it was either the Thursday or the Friday, it was probably the second evening, which is the Friday night of the party, of the event, and everyone's getting like quite warm and big festivities going on, and it's me and my team. I think, if I can remember, it was probably a guy called Chart van der Walt, shout out Chart, and probably DJ. No, DJ wasn't there. It was before DJ. Anyway, so me and my team, and then France and his beautiful wife, who we couldn't actually believe France had hooked in some way. We were like, look at this ogre. And I mean,
he's gonna love this.
and Ashley sitting there, who's like this gorgeous blonde, and we're like, the picture's still not working for me. So I'm like, okay. And then actually a very good client, a mutual client of ours, who I insured his airplane, a beautiful gold Baron, Zulu Sierra, Kilo Charlie Sierra, and who had his life insurance and cover with France. And so at some point, we having a big, long chat, and we kind of getting to know each other at some point. And then I'm disgraced to say that at some point I stood up and thought it would be a really good idea just to give France a big smack through the face.
Now you guys are as thick as thieves, eh? It's very interesting how a lot of people that end up very tight, some of my best friends, that's how I met them. I was like, oh, dude, you really, you are on the wrong turf right now. And then somehow you end up being best mates afterwards. It's crazy how that happens.
Because they've got the tenacity to come and challenge you, and you've got the same kind of, chutzpah behind you that you identify in each other. And it,
like attracts like, I guess.
Exactly.
So did you clap him?
Moord him.
Did you? Properly.
And in a friendly, very drunken way, it was like a nice pier car.
Oh, you really did?
Yeah, like I can't remember the discussion that led up to it, or even if there was one, or if there was no reason, I just slapped him. Okay.
How did he take it?
Very well. Very, very well. Everyone thought that he was had the full right to stand up and give one back to me plus more.
Yeah.
And I should not have had any, I should have had bleeding mouth and teeth and falling out. And it should have ended up that way in any other way. But France.
The turf wars in Gerib sound scary.
France, being the incredible gentleman that he was, took it, didn't do anything. And this is a good 15 years ago now, so I'm trying to remember the details, but obviously the client was not impressed. His wife, who I did this to him in front of, obviously was like seething mad.
Yes, as any good wife would be.
As any good wife would be. And shout out Ashley. Like our relationship has since then amended, so that's good. And he took it very well and didn't murder me back.
Really?
To this day.
Bigger man than me, eh?
Bigger man than most. And I must tell you, to this day, he has promised me that it's coming.
Is his motto, I don't get angry, I just get even.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that's, we've definitely told the story a number of times. This is the first time that story has been told in a public forum. So France, I'm gonna have to prep him for this one, but it's gonna be a good one. So anyway, that's where we met, and that was the weekend that this happened. So, and I wanted, and this story actually holds a good place in the overarching story that we're getting back to now. Is that like France came in to events and showed me a way to be a better sponsor, to be a better partner to aviation. When it didn't happen then, but now looking back at it, I can use that interaction. I can use the way I actually remember observing France and the way he did things to amend the way and change the way that I approached events, sponsorships, partnerships with industry, and all those kinds of things. So like, and that being a bigger man and not causing a scene and all that kind of stuff actually like really epitomizes how that actually needs to be. Okay, I don't know if I'm making sense, but so that happened, and we actually became friends after that, and realizing that we don't have. And I think I've told this story as well on this podcast, but we're realizing that we don't actually have a business conflict in any way because we're both insuring the same people for different things, so we're not competing. And learning that about his business still took me a couple of years to start working together with him and referring clients back
to
and
complement
forth. To complement each other.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that was my forte. In fact, while I was doing aircraft insurance, I had assessors, I had banks, I had salespeople. I had a group of aviation industry influential people that I would just get regular referrals from. So that was my forte. And then to think like France would probably be able to give all of those guys, like if I had 5 industry players giving me referrals, he could have matched all of that just with his book of business. But it took me very long to realize that. Okay. Anyway, so at first it was very transactional, and then it took a good long while to see that, maybe I shouldn't just be giving money and coming there to drink and to be the cap guy. Maybe it's, what's more valuable is definitely hand the cash flow, because that's what makes keeps airplanes in the sky, magic and money, and give all of that, be the cap person, definitely, but also give of yourself. Like, get behind, put on a high-vis jacket, get behind the flight line and push back aircraft, and to help guys get started up before the race, and to get in the cockpit of the airplane, and to
be authentic.
Be authentic. And
you're not just there for the, like you said earlier before we started, people pick up authenticity, and people also know when people are being disingenuous. 100%. So it's going there to drink, throw money at something. It's very different to someone leading the example and putting the time and the effort in. And I think in aviation, certainly, all people in aviation, particularly cabin crew as well, such incredible people skills that authenticity draws you towards a person.
Absolutely right. Exactly. And so being boots on the ground versus, loafers in an Eiffel Tower just really helps you to connect more, better. And that authentic connection, connect authentically. And that authentic connection then leads you to know that these people are real people.
And they're your people.
And they're my people. And it's not like I just need to be have a client-broker relationship with these people. This is a friendship. This is real. And it took me a long time to realize that as well.
The industry just embraces you.
Industry embraces you. Once you realize that these are the people that you're going to be spending your time with, so they better be nice, and you better be nice to them. This is a friendship. This is a real thing. I used to look at, and I'll be honest now, again, all this honesty. I used to look at people who only had their clients and industry players as friends, as what kind of life do you have? Do you have real friendships and all that kind of stuff? And it's the answer is yes, they do. When you can make those people your real friends, that's when you succeed in life. That's when you succeed. Because they're not only helping you in business, they start to help you in your personal life, and you can help them in their personal lives. And it all becomes one, melting pot of family and connection.
Yeah, that's definitely a hallmark of aviation. It's my wife commented on it the other day. She said, I didn't know anybody involved in aviation till I started dating you. And then all the people I met were people that were somehow involved in aviation, not necessarily directly flight crew, but and that's, I think, that industry, because it's such a unique thing, and what we do is such a unique experience on the day-to-day, you really form a bond with the people that go through that with you. Yeah. And they become your best mates. They become basically your second family, because we're never around our families, because generally we live so far away from them. But what you're saying holds a lot of water, for sure.
Yeah. And they become your family, your friends and family. They become your chosen family.
100%. It's a good way to put it, your chosen family.
Yeah. Because we all know. So anyway, so that was a huge mind shift for me over time, and subsequently, you put the people first. You don't put the business that you can do with those people first. And when that mind shift happened for me, then everything unlocked. Everything was the purpose of what we're doing here makes sense. Like why I get up in the morning and why we travel to Secunda for the whole day to do a site visit and make sure that everything works nicely and that the club knows what to do and they're on the same page as us. And that's, I'll give you an example. Ian and Taryn of SA Powered Flying, who are sort of we the three of us really spearhead putting the President's Trophy together, and take nothing away from the rest of the team. But like the three, they drove from Silver Creek, which is by Rustenburg, to Pretoria to pick me up, to drive to Secunda to go do the site visit yesterday. And then we were there for 2 or 3 hours, checked out the venue, checked out the accommodation, checked out the gala dinner venue, had a quick lunch, and then travel all the way back. I mean, they could have driven to Durban that day, but it's, it's not like we're like low earning professionals here or non-professionals. We're in a good industry and we do well, and that's a whole day out of our lives, you know? And so, not to put any numbers on it, but like, it's a big commitment to do that kind of thing, and we do it for the love of it, So yes, when I started to do that and put the people first, everything unlocked. We became a good family, and that's also when you come up with new ideas and new ways to help the community. All right, and there are universal problems that people have. And, the more we engage with the community, we see that those universal problems have a slightly nuanced way of affecting an aviator, right? And I'll give you an example. And how an aviator could solve those universal problems in a nuanced way. And so what I'm referring to there is, through all the dealings that I've done, and when I say dealings I've done, I mean events like the President's Trophy, speed rallies for SA Powered Flying. We did the air show last year at Pretoria, the Pretoria Air Show at Rhino Park over the Easter weekend. In fact, that was, and we ended up winning second best air show in the country for that, by the way. So
massive. Yeah, big pat on the back.
Yeah, I really love the fact that we did it. I love the fact that I took a team that doesn't actually do air shows. They do events, but we took a team and we put an air show together and we put all the right elements together, and to make sure that we really made a mark on the air show scene. Coming back to that. So all the events that I do and that I get involved with and all that kind of thing, you meet people, and so we've got commercial pilots that are clients, and we've got private pilots that are clients. And so part of our whole book and what we do is, and our purpose as Pilot Insure, is to make sure that cover is right. Pilot insures all pilots, that cover is correct for all types of pilots. And so we've spoken a lot about the commercial offering, which is the big audience here, and the loss of license side of things. But the private pilot has almost infinite amounts of pitfalls that a policy can go through and be incorrectly covered. I don't know if the grammar is right there. The private pilot has quite a few more possible pitfalls in their policy that can end up in a repudiated claim.
Because it's a hobby.
Because it's a
with
hobby.
Risk.
At what the underwriters perceive as major risk. And so they try and box that risk into as many mitigating factors as possible that they don't understand. And so what the underwriter will try and do is to say, okay, well, we see that you're flying a ZS airplane, but you cannot land it on a grass strip, because a grass strip is inherently more dangerous than a tarred strip. Okay, are you sure about that? Okay. Maybe because you've anecdotally heard some evidence somewhere that a gyro plane landed on a grass strip and hit a warthog's hole. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. And so all of this information, so landing on grass strips, untarred strips, unmanned airfields, uncrewed airfields, cross-border flying, competitive flying, all of these things that sound and are deemed more dangerous than just your Grand Central to Zimbali or Zabula for a breakfast, because it's a tarred strip to a tarred strip, and you're coming back to a manned aerodrome and everything's fine. So there's a deemed risk that if you're going to someone's game farm that's on a grass strip or a gravel strip and then only coming back 3 days later. Anyway, so there's there's all these different nuances that can happen in private flying. And so we've endeavored also as Pilot Insure over the many years to make sure that all of those pitfalls are well covered and we fully understand and get your risk right. I digress. So, and those are the kinds of pilots that we meet at the President's Trophy and these types of events. And so the universal problems that they have, and I'll give you an example of the universal problem that I've been referring to. And the one is like a lot of them are business people. 99% of them are owners of large industrial or local businesses. Many of them, one-man bands. And I keep saying man. Anyway, one-person bands. Right?
Fair enough.
And
I think it's an analogy.
it is an analogy.
Guys, a euphemism for guys and girls.
And also that was also part of the debate on, but why just guys? Girls are also pilots too. So yes, I understand that, and I'm a big feminist. Okay,
because I think South African grammar is different to global, so people take it more literally as we learned.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing everything to become more aware of that and challenging myself to break the mold. So one of the universal problems that private pilots have is that they are business people and they are solo business people, or they have a small team, and or they're very successful, obviously, because they have money to buy private airplanes, which are not cheap things. And so, but the business relies on them being there.
Sure.
And the business, they are the face of the business. They're the main engine of the business. They without them, there's no business. And the problem with that is, it's great while you're young and healthy and have a lot of energy. You can generate all of that income and meet all the people and all that kind of thing. But what happens if you die?
If you die, the whole system collapses.
Exactly.
That's everyone out of a job, families out of money. Yeah.
If there even is a structured system in place, right? And so that's the one thing. So what happens to the spouse that's left behind? Is there, the business stops and therefore the income stops, So
yeah, I've seen it happen. It happened with my family.
Really? Yeah. So that's the one thing. So death and disability, obviously, if a business owner dies, we need to make sure that covers. Then if there's a business partner, what happens to the business partner if you're the main face of the business? His whole family or her whole family also gets the short end of the straw, right? And then that's one thing. The other thing is a very looming issue. Everyone's going to retire at some point. You're going to get tired. You don't want to have to work for the rest of your life. And some people do, and some people want to have that purpose forever, 100%. But a lot of people would rather, at age 65 or even before that, be able to retire from their business and be able to let the thing carry on. Let the business keep making money for the people that you've built it for, and have a manager that takes over and all those kinds of things. But the truth is, 90% of these businesses out there generating huge amounts of value are not going to be transferred to anybody. And people are like, no, my kid's going to take it over. Wrong. Your kid doesn't. I don't know what the percentage is. A large percentage of the time, the kid's like, yeah, that looks boring. I want to go fly. And so anyway, so through all of that, so that's a big universal problem that we have. But aviators themselves can solve that problem. Number one, by we identified, and when I say we, it's my business coach, and I identified a gap to say, bring your private aviation into your business as a marketing tool, as a operational tool, which a lot of people do. But, solve problems for your clients using your airplane. Okay? One example of that is a client of mine sells seed in Mpumalanga, seed and fertilizer. And so he uses his aeroplane to take a farmer that he's going to sell to and fly him over his land. If he doesn't have a helicopter or an airplane, he's like, come, let's go have a look. And so that aeroplane is an operational marketing tool to be able to do this. And so by using your aviation and your aircraft in your business to grow it faster, and then coming back when you hit when you land on the ground, then you and me and the business coach talk about putting a system in place that ultimately fires you from your own business. And that structured system is something that people need to focus on and build so that by the time they retire, that they can literally step back and the whole thing runs for themselves, or they have a sellable entity that they can get 50 million bucks for. Big plug. So this was not intentional, but that's how passionate I am about this kind of thing. But we formed something called the Aviation Wealth Club.
Yes.
To draw in the aviation business owner to be able to help them with these kinds of universal problems, with marketing problems, with operational problems, with scionship and value transfer and all those kinds of things. And that's a business, well, that's an operation that we do to be able to help these existing Pilot Insure clients and others to be able to really help their business grow and in the same way, if they've got more money to grow, well, from a growing business, they've got more avgas and they can buy more airplanes. And so therefore, we want to use the aviation, well, the ethos behind the Aviation Wealth Club is to put more pilots in the air more of the time.
More pilots in the air more of the time by helping them achieve their financial freedom, I suppose.
Exactly right.
So intrinsically involved in all of this, it's all interlinked, as I can see, because air shows, air races, rallies, those are your people. You are now their people. And you've created things to support them, to help keep them in the air. You recently came from a meeting before the show to help set up the President Trophy Air Race, when is the President's Trophy Air Race? So
to answer the first question, the President's Trophy Air Race is on the 29th of May, 28th to the 30th of May. It's at time of shooting, it's 2 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. The meeting I came from before this was for the Pretoria Air Show.
Was it for the Pretoria Air Show?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got them mixed around.
Not at all. And so the meeting that I came from before this was at the venue, which is at Rhino Park Airfield. That event is happening this year on the 29th of August. It's our second annual air show.
This is the air show that took second place last year.
Correct.
Imagine you're pushing for first this year.
Very same, yes, we are. But again, the accolades are not what we're going for. We're going for a really well-executed, safe, good air show.
But it would be nice, though.
It would be nice. Johan Heiner, coming for you. And I've told him that before. But he puts on a spectacular show. And we, as a novice in the air show industry, I look up to him. I look up to what they do in Nelspruit. And I don't know if that's clear, but Nelspruit, the Mpumalanga Air Show, wins first most years in a row, and they do a very, very good job. They've got a tight, well-constructed, well-choreographed air show. They've got a lot of pyrotechnics and night displays and all those good types of things. And so we are, if imitation is the best form of flattery, we're going to be flattering the Nelspruit Air Show in a big way. But we are also going to be adding our own elements. Obviously, we have to be original, authentic, and a lot of that involves, just thinking out of the box within the bounds of safety. It means thinking about what can be done that hasn't been done before, what hasn't been done in a long time, because there's almost nothing that hasn't been done. But there's a lot that we're looking to do. The one is bringing in a motorbike element. The one is bringing a sort of, motocross jumps and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So we are somewhat confirmed on that. We were, then we weren't, and now we sort of back on the track. So we really want to bring that in with this. We also want to bring in the night displays, some of the early evening stuff that we can do. I can't promise like an Oshkosh full pyrotechnic, crazy night display like at the full dark. Unfortunately, our limitation is that 15 minutes before after sunset. So in that sort of half an hour, we really have to make things happen and make them look beautiful.
So the Pretoria Air Show that you're organizing, what's on the cards there? Who's invited? What can we expect to see? And what do you have up your sleeve?
Right.
To make it an improvement on last year's already excellent show.
Exactly. So this year we're keeping the same amount of displays. We had a full 6-hour program last year, so we're keeping that the same. All that we're doing now is just moving a little bit later. So instead of starting at 10 and ending at 4, we want to start at 12 and end at 6.
Okay.
So that kind of gives us that evening display. We are inviting the balloon guys. So
brilliant.
So a lot of the hot air balloons. We're inviting, and look, this is all still subject to quite a bit of bureaucratic red tape, which is all very good for compliance and safety. I'm 100% on board, but it's all subject to a couple of things at this moment. So I'd love to come on the show again closer to the time and tell you it's definitely confirmed and all those good things. So at this point, balloons, big night glow.
That will be brilliant. Yeah,
huge goosebumps moment at the end.
I think Chinese lanterns are impressive.
Yeah.
Wait till you see those big boys out.
Exactly. Yeah. And Chinese lanterns are somewhat destructive, so we're trying to steer away from those, especially being in a farm area.
Far from ideal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't know the event, the venue is Rhino Park, which is an absolutely amazing venue. Rhino Park Airfield, also known as Legends Motocross area. They've got a huge motocross track there, and the airfield with a flight school, the Legends Sky Flight School. Shout out to Dave and the team. And then there's also a big Jabiru MRO that's there. MRO, yeah. Maintenance organization. They do about 250 of the 500 Jabiru aircraft in terms of their maintenance there. And so that aviation element at this area has really sparked a lot of aviation interest. What we did and how I built the relationship with Rhino Park is also a different story. Is in COVID, we did something called the Steady Climb Fly-ins, and we did about 4 of them. So 2 in 2020 and 1 in 2021 and 1 in 2022. So during that whole COVID period. And what that was, did you hear about them?
No, I didn't. I was out of industry for a bit at that stage.
Right. So in COVID, obviously everyone was furloughed. Everyone was on the ground. Airlines didn't know when they were coming back.
Yeah, I was doing different things.
Yeah. And so people obviously created businesses and started doing new things and reinventing themselves, right? And so we thought it would be a great idea that as soon as the air space opened up again, which we also had a big hand in doing with the Aero Club and, making sure that we could actually just run the aeroplanes and get them going again. But when that airspace opened up again, we thought, okay, well, let's invite, everyone's eager to fly and everyone's eager to fly to a place. So let's invite all of the private pilots that we know and anyone with aircraft, come to Rhino Park Airfield, and what we're going to do is have an outdoor expo of all the businesses that all the pilots started. So we had a cleaning company from a lot of and SAA was actually still, SAA 1.0 was kind of right there at the end. And so we had a lot of the SAA pilots, I can't even remember names now, but anyway, so a lot of them, with their new businesses and the companies that they joined. Some guys joined a Rawson agency and brought their Rawson estate agency banners and flags, and then we had a cleaning company, and we had fire and safety guys, and there was woodworking and people making pancakes and people like all sorts of like think we had a good 25 businesses that had been just started in the last 6 months in COVID coming to exhibit. And obviously we made the exhibition space completely free, and then we had and then we charged the pilots. And this is also a bit of a downfall, just so you know. Never charge too much for your fly-in for the pilots. It doesn't go down well, even though you're offering value. Just rather sell them stuff anyway. Don't charge up front. Anyway,
always happy to buy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had about the first one completely rained out on the Saturday. We were expecting about 100 aircraft. So we literally had to make the call at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning to say, listen, guys, steady climb 1, not happening today. Please come tomorrow. And we were able to roll over the whole event because nobody was bloody doing anything during COVID. We were lucky enough to roll over the entire event to the Sunday, and we still had 65 airplanes turn up.
Incredible.
Yeah. That was very cool. And we had the Flying Lions, the Puma Flying Lions. Shout out Howitze. With obviously Scully and Ellis and Sean Thackeray and Arnie Manighelli all come, and they did a flippin' display because they'd also been grounded and there were no air shows, so there was all this excess avgas that was acting very evil and needed to be burned.
So your fly-in turned into a little air show.
Mini air show.
Air show.
Yeah. Well, luckily, guys like the Puma Flying Lions have their own AOC, so they can do a display any way they like. They can just declare it, listen, guys, we're going to do an air show there. Most other displays have to be put through a whole special air event application to be able to do that, because a lot of them actually aren't even commercial pilots. They're just private oaks.
A lot of them. I think even Patrick Davidson's he's got a PPL.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very specialized flying that he does, but it doesn't need to be commercial for it.
I think for the Red Bull Air Race, you had to have an FAA visual VFR com.
Okay.
I think that's it. But just operates the PPL, loves it.
Yeah.
Also, a prime example of a guy that has another business.
Yeah.
Now, I want to touch base on that. There are a lot of people that have done other things, have such a deep passion for aviation, specifically doctors. I went to an ENT 2 years ago, mad about aviation. I went to an eye specialist 15 years ago, crazy about aviation. You got business people, like guys that have civils company, crazy about aviation. Very unique kind of person. And then you got the professional aviators, guys that do it as their bread and butter. Having dealt with both of these people on the daily, what do you think separates those business people that fly for the passion, the pleasure, and the professional pilots? How are they different in terms of mindset and outlook on aviation, in your opinion?
So I'm going to highlight the differences, but I also want to highlight the similarities. And just to say that all pilots are flippin' cool. So the outlook is there isn't a big difference, and there's a lot of personality similarities between all pilots. Not to say that all pilots are the same. That's very wrong.
So what are some of the similarities you've identified between these professional aviators and these recreational pilots that just do it for the love of the game? I suppose professional pilots do it for the love of the game too, but one's literally a hobby and one's got to make a living out of it.
The one just turned their hobby into their income, into their career. That's really the main difference. And the one thought, no, well, I'm going to keep mine being a hobby, and explore other passions of mine. And the one was like, well, this hobby works well for me to turn into a career, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think I've met in my life, out of the 2,000 pilots that I have met, not every single one of them has said, oh, this is the best thing ever. But I'm going to say less than 0.1% of them are like, I'm done with flying. I'm just doing this for a living. I flippin' hate this. And I'm just waiting to retire. There is that section of the people out there, of the pilots out there, not going to lie. But it's a very small percentage.
Why did you decide to take on? So you obviously had a lot of involvement in the President Trophy Air Race, is going live in 2 weeks. You've been doing that for a while. Imagine air race very different to planning an air show. What led you to organize your own air show, and why was I not invited?
Excellent question. Steady climb fly-ins at Rhino Park. We did 4 of them. Eventually, the owner of the airfield came to me and said, "Well, can we please just do an air show?" And I thought about it. I just said, "You know what? I don't know how to do it. Like, if you want to do one, I'll introduce you to the right people and all that, but I can't do one. Like, I don't know. I can organize a great fly-in. I know to make sure that there's burri rolls and a bacon and egg roll and free coffee and all those kinds of things when the people arrive. I can do a great fly-in." Okay? And for anyone listening, a fly-in is akin to a breakfast run. So breakfast run for cars and bikes, fly-in for aircraft and things. So all fly to a destination, have good breakfast, talk about airplanes, which is the second best thing to flying, and then fly home. That's a fly-in. So I could organize a great one of those. I could help organize the President's Trophy and be a part of that process at the time of the first time I was asked to do this air show. So at the first time I said, I don't know how to do it. Like, I know how to do these other things. I can't do an air show for you. And then the following year, I was asked again, almost a year to the date of being asked in the first time. He asked me again. So Wim Quibus was like, "Listen, please can we do an air show?" I was like, I said, I'll think about it, but I don't think I can do it. Like, I honestly don't, I just don't know what it was, but I didn't have the confidence and the next 3 steps lined up in my head to be able to pull one off. And then the third time, almost a year to the date after that time. So he asked me 3 times, literally. So it's like definitely something at play here. But he asked me the third time and he said, "Listen, David, can you do an air show for me, please, here at Rhino Park?" And I was like, and we had just done the President's Trophy at Louis Trichardt and Bianca Prinsloo, who's the Soutpansberg, who was very involved in the Soutpansberg Flying Club and who we did the President's Trophy with there, had just pulled off her second air show at Louis Trichardt. And I was like, I'm pretty good friends with Bianca, shout out, and she did it. And she's going to know how to do a couple of the things. And I said, "You know what, Quibus," and Gert, his brother, I said, "Yes, let's do an air show." And they were like, "Okay, cool." So I said, "All right." And it was a little bit like that book where it's like how to learn how to fly. You know, like if you the pilots with the Learn How to Fly book in the cockpit. And it was like, if you don't know something, say yes until you can figure it out. It took me a while to have enough confidence to do that. And then I immediately phoned Bianca and I said, "Bianca, tell me how to do an air show, please. Come, let's sit." And we met a week later and I wrote down my manual of how to do an air show. And we need to speak to this person and get this approval, and this person, you need this placeholder, you need this person as a safety officer, you need and literally like wrote it down and gave me the telephone numbers, and I like literally on pen and paper at, where were we? A place in near Capital Craft in Pretoria. And I literally wrote everything down. Started the next day. I'm a spreadsheet guy, so I just typed out all the stuff on a spreadsheet and then started figuring out, okay, what do we need, blah, blah, blah. And then just started at the top and I started phoning the pilots, who I kind of knew anyway. I knew Arnie, I knew Nigel, I knew a couple of the guys, Dennis Spence, who was on the show. Excellent show, by the way. I listened to that whole podcast. It was absolutely brilliant.
Dennis has an incredible heritage. He's done some things that people going to dream of. So yeah, we're very fortunate to have him on the show. It was a great show.
Yeah, extremely. And so phoned all of them and then started figuring out, okay, the guys want smoke. I was like, what the hell? How does the smoke get into the airplane? Okay, there's smoke oil. All right, sweet. Put smoke oil, like just getting requirements. And as I was phoning, I was building out my spreadsheet. Like, I can't tell you how much I love spreadsheets, almost as much as I love aviation, just so you know. Anyway, so built out my spreadsheet. And then by the end of like 25 phone calls, and a couple of emails and a few WhatsApp messages and some responses from the guys. I was like, okay. Like they need a display fee, they need transport money, they need like ferry flight money, they need a couple of things to get your guys to the air show. You need this and that. And so now I've literally got one single spreadsheet that I can run an entire air show off.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And so putting all of that together, luckily, the first air show was actually a joint event with the Pretoria Fees, which happens every year at the same venue. And so we did it as a joint event. And so a lot of that infrastructure that you would require for a big event for 10,000 people was already in place. And my job was literally just like make an air show. So we brought in Brian Eminis, I brought in Keith Fryer as our flight display director, Nigel Musgrave as my safety officer. We had Corin Matthews there. We had Dilly there as AFIS at the time. They weren't allowed to actually be ATC. And I still don't think that thing's cleared up. Brought in all the right people and huge amounts of experience in and around me. And we bloody put the whole thing together, you know?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal task to take on.
Yeah.
In addition to what you do on the day-to-day, once again, just, I don't know where you find the time. Honestly, we've got the Pilots Company and the podcast and stuff, and that, in addition to our normal duties, it takes up all our free time. So I don't know how you go about, suppose the secret spreadsheets by the sounds of things. Yeah. You know, Excel has a world championship.
Yes,
Have you seen it?
Yes, I do.
I should check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, you obviously got a passion for it. What's the most rewarding part after the show is done for you? Where do you get your feeling of contentedness having done something of that magnitude in nature?
I know it sounds corny, but it's the smiles on the people's faces. It's like at the end of the President's Trophy air race, you're getting out of a sweaty flight deck. You've been flying for 2.5 hours. Some of those guys in the slower airplanes, maybe 3.5 hours of flying in high pressure environment, in a high pressure environment, and you know that you've got your navigator and you're the pilot and you're trying to find markers on the ground and fly in the right direction, and there's wind and there's other aircraft, and it's hectic. Like it's high pressure flying that's not life or death, and in fact that makes you an excellent pilot. Just so we know, it's like simulation flying, really, but it's real. And the crews land, and they get out their airplanes, and one of the things that I've learned to do is to go and talk to those people as they get out of that airplane, and that is like the excitement and the adrenaline that's still coursing through their veins. They look like kids, man. They look like big, smiling, happy children when they get out of those airplanes.
I did a thing.
Yeah, and like, oh my goodness, that was so hectic. And they take their cap off and they're sweating, and then either they're very happy or they are very misluck. They are super unhappy, and it's like you can see where the CRM broke down in that flight deck during that thing, and even then, like 20 minutes later, the pilot and navigator are the best of friends again, and it's over a few beers, and we have a lekker lunch, and it's just like the talk of it all, and you just hear everyone just saying how much of a good time that they've had. So like, the President's Trophy and the speed rallies, that for me is like the absolute win, is to see those childlike reactions to the thing that they've done, and then just to get people talking about that. It's inspirational. A lot of, since becoming more operational in the whole thing as well, in terms of actual organizing and like signing off event notifications and saying to the CAA that we're responsible for this type of event. When the last aircraft lands on the ground safely, that's like my heart just like, whew, okay, sweet. Like that's a huge one for me. And that's like, while I didn't fly the race, I did get the guys sent off at the right time. They did a big thing, flew for an hour and a half, landed back on the ground, and I got them back safely. And
you guys make it happen, eh?
Yeah.
You make it happen. I got 2 more questions for you. What's the importance of the role of the air shows and the air races? And do you feel they are starting to fade away in terms of support, or do you see them growing in your experience?
Brilliant question. The role is to inspire the public to fly, to communicate the love and value of aviation to the public. That's definitely an air show. Air show's number one priority is to inspire the general public, the young general public, into aviation. Okay, so that's a big thing that we're also part of and doing as our sort of CSR initiative is to bring the kids into the organization and participation at an air show. That's the role of an air show. Like if you've all watched the Thunderbirds Netflix special.
I actually got into aviation because I came across a video like that. I was at school and a friend of mine showed me, I don't think I ever told anyone the story. A friend of mine, his friend was flying, student pilot, and he had a whole bunch of these aerobatics videos.
Yeah.
And someone just put it on their computer, and I watched this, and I always had an interest in flying. I was always playing like flight sim, and I never really. Teachers told me I could never be a pilot. Like that's the purview of other people kind of thing.
Yeah.
And your marks need to be incredibly good, and I believe them.
Yeah.
I tell you the same thing long enough, you believe them. And I watched this.
Yeah.
And it was the French Mirage doing low level passes someplace in the desert in Algeria, wherever it was. It was the US Air Force Thunderbirds. Never heard of them. Mind absolutely blown. And then there were like 4 or 5 other ones. And after that, I think that did it for me. That was the line had been crossed there, pushed me over. So the importance, I suppose, like you're saying, if someone hadn't done that, and I hadn't come across it, I wouldn't be here sitting talking to you.
Correct.
I'd probably be sitting behind a desk right now at 2:30 in the afternoon at some firm somewhere doing something.
Yeah, hitting your afternoon lull and talking to Sandy about her.
Standing at the water cooler, and like,
Exactly.
how are things at home? Are they better?
Yeah. I can't imagine anything worse. Nothing wrong with office jobs, but just saying like,
It would have turned out different.
Yeah. And so 100%. I mean, the US Air Force spends millions of dollars maintaining the Thunderbirds team just to inspire people to join the US Air Force.
I have a question.
Okay.
Which team is better? The Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds? And why?
Incorrect. I'm going to say the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
Because they just look tighter than the Thunderbirds, and I'm almost certain that they have different tolerances in terms of how close they'll fly together, fly to each other. And the F-16s and the US Thunderbirds, the US Air Force Thunderbirds, I think, and I'm speaking under correction here, won't go as close as the Navy crazy bastards.
The F-18s.
The F-18
Really?
Blue Angels.
Yes, yeah, Blue Angel man.
And it's only because they're more dangerous, I think. And like, fight me in the comments, guys. I don't know. I sit here as a spectator. So, but you asked the stupid question.
I think it's quite an important question.
It's a very important question. What's your answer to this question?
I think at the end of the day, aviation's the ultimate winner there.
That's so diplomatic. Oh my God. So to answer your question about what is the role of all of these things is to say that it's to inspire the younger generation to join aviation. That's what it is. That's the role of the air shows in South Africa. It always has been. Up until very recently, we still get a lot of Air Force support to air shows, but not as much as before. And this is, I think, the role of every country's Air Force is to make sure that they can put on these displays on the bankroll of the government to be able to inspire aviation for Air Force growth and commercial, and then ultimately commercial aviation's growth. Sadly, that does lack currently. All right, in South Africa specifically, and so the air show industry is all private. 90% of it is private. And like, I don't want to take anything. I mean, Andrea was here the other day. I watched her show as well. A massive, inspirationally amazing person. Andrew's actually spoken at a lot of my safety symposiums, which are a separate event that I do twice or three times a year. And to take nothing away from them, the burden has fallen, or the privilege has fallen onto the onto the shoulders of private aviators. And so teams like the Goodyear Eagles, teams like Master Power or Team Extreme, so Nigel and them, these are all privately funded. So
They're critical.
They're critical. They're critical to the future of this country's aviation. And not just this country. We are Africa's aviation flippin' beacon. You know, we have to, and not for any other arrogant reason, but we have good weather and we have good expertise and lots of runways. So like, bring your people to here to train, great, but we need people to train them with. And so, you know, we need aviation, we need air shows. Last point on this, things like big fly-ins. So not necessarily an air show, but a big fly-in like tail draggers that's been held at Warm Baths and before that Nailstroom Airfield for many, many years. Shout out to Richard Nicholson, also an incredible aviator. Should probably have him on the show. 100 airplanes fly through that airfield on the tail draggers weekend. And I brought out my business partner from the Aviation Wealth Club, who's not really an aviator at all. I said, come and just experience the weekend with us. And his biggest takeaway from that weekend was how affordable aviation really is. And to your point, you were like, no, aviation, if you're not in it, and you thought that aviation was for the other people, for like, if it wasn't for me, you know. And this is a huge misconception out there. Aviation is affordable. Like if you can play golf and do 3 stage races with your mountain bike and drive a Fortuner, you can afford aviation.
Yeah.
You know?
So a lot of people watching this know you.
Hopefully.
A lot do. Through whether they're clients of yours or they've been to an event that you've organized, whether it be a flying, air race, ready, air show now. For those people listening, is there anything that you want to say to them about the support that you've received from the broader pilot body?
Absolutely. I want to say thank you. And I know that things are busy and things are getting busier for everybody. Like, you know, there's just more events. There's more stuff going on. We're supposed to be answering emails instantly. We're like life is very busy, right? And I get that. And so for all aviation events, and it's not just mine, but support has been waning. Like it's harder and harder to get those big crowds of 20,000 plus to an air show. It's harder and harder to get people entering. And we're facing massive headwinds in aviation. Don't get me wrong. That 12-year rule nailed a lot of the private pilots for a very long time, the last couple of months. In fact, the last 18 to odd months. We're facing headwinds, the fuel price, all of these things. I get that. So the headwinds are like cost, over-regulation, and life being so flippin' busy. I would like to say, let's band together. Let's not become the frog in the blender and lose aviation in South Africa. We need to pull together all aviators of every shape and size, color and creed. We need to come together and to turn up at the events. We need to get to fly-ins. We need to inspire your neighbor and your friend to start flying. Think about, if everyone in this country with a pilot's license convinced one other person to do their pilot's license, we'd have double the amount of pilots. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to say to you. As anyone watching this video, if you think of someone that even feigned interest or even showed some kind of interest in getting their license and hasn't yet, convince them to do it. Pick up the phone now and say, hey, let's go do an intro flight at your nearest flight school. And do that, and we'll see aviation thrive.
Love it. All it takes is an intro flight to make it believe that it is possible.
100%.
And that was very much the story for me. Once I did that intro flight, it was done. I knew it was over.
Yeah.
No more accounting for me. David, thanks so much for coming on the show again. It's great having you. We're looking forward to everything that you bring into industry, and thank you for all the things that you do for everyone. I don't think people realize the amount of things you go through in the background just to support the growth of the industry. So we're very grateful to have you on the show, and we look forward to supporting you guys if we can moving forward. We will be at your air show, and we're very much looking forward to experiencing it.
Beautiful, Daniel. You are absolutely invited to the air show, and everyone watching, please come out and check it out. It's going to be an amazing event.
Look forward to it. Have a good one, David. Thank
Cool.
you.
Ciao.